Well, here we are. It is January 3rd, 2025. Happy New Year to everyone. I hope you all had a good holiday with your family and friends. If you didn't, you stayed home. That was fine. My wife and I, we didn't go anywhere. We had a lot of people around during the Christmas holidays, and when New Year's came, we were pretty pooped out. So we stayed home, cooked a tremendous meal, watched a movie, had some prosecco, relaxed, and I think we were sound asleep by 10:30 or 11 o'clock that night. But at any rate, it was a nice finish to the year for us. And now we're in the throes of winter here. It's been so windy here. I have to say something. The winds around Cape Ann at this time of the year could be absolutely wild. If you've ever been here, you know what I'm talking about. And the winds here have been in the 40 to 55 mile an hour range for the last almost 48 hours. It has been howling outside off the ocean. A lot of huge waves. I was going to go out and try to video some of it, but it was blowing so hard. I was afraid I'd damage something, so I just didn't do it. But we'll probably do that at another time. We have, incidentally, I had mentioned that we'll be doing some filming at some of the museums and so forth in the area, and the camera came this week, and we did some fooling around with it. We posted a quick video over on the Patreon page to test it out, see how it went. Talk about a couple of things that I'd bought in the last month that I'd been leaving it on my front porch for some reason. I got too busy around here to do other things, and I finally got to unbox it all. But I used the new camera to try it out, and it's amazing. It's a Sony, and it's made specifically for low light shooting, and shoots in 4K and does all kinds of crazy things. So I'm very anxious and excited to get out there and do some of that. And I think we're going to start at the Museum of Fine Arts in Boston and then mosey on from there. There's a lot to do in that one museum, of course, but there are other places in the New England area, and we'll be doing those very soon. All right. Now, as far as auctions go, as you know, there's not a lot of them have come up yet. They're starting to reappear. We're going to go through some of the sales that popped up over the last few days that are coming up, and there's some interesting things. And one of them is going to be at Sotheby's. It won't be an Asian sale, though. It'll be an Americana. They have their Americana series every January in New York City, as many of you know. They sell some amazing stuff, and they have 3 auctions coming up this year for that event. And one of them has a number of very good China trade wares in it. We're going to talk about those a bit. There's a sale coming up over at Roseberrys and a sale at Dreweatts over in England. In the U.S. right now, other than that, it's very, very quiet. There's a few things coming up that we've talked about in previous videos that are on offer, but not a lot. There's a very good rug sale taking place in Boston at Grogan's that we covered last week. And the material will be, they just posted it in the last couple of days onto Live Auctioneers, so we'll be putting that on the global pages and all that. So there's a bit, it's starting to build, as it always does heading into the new year. The auctioneers got to get back to work, and on we go. So let's take a look at what's happening over at Sotheby's in January. This is a online Americana sale from the starting on the 16th in a couple of weeks, and these are some of the export pieces that are coming up. There's some very, very nice examples in here. Some forms you'll be familiar with. There's some unusual forms, and I'm just going to go through some of them. You might want to check it out. One of them is this big basin on stand. Qinlong period, beautifully done, estimated at $7,000 to $10,000. This is a nice stand. We've seen these before, these big coolers. These are quite large. This one is, what is it about? How wide is this? Sotheby's, for some reason, incidentally, if anybody from Sotheby's is watching this, go through your Americana sale and check it out. You didn't include dimensions for a number of objects in the China trade section. This one, though, they did include. It's 25.5 inches in diameter. It's estimated at just $7,000 to $10,000. I think that's very reasonable for one of these. We've seen these in the past sell for $15,000 and $20,000. You want to get a condition report on it, of course, but it looks like it's in pretty good shape. There's lots of gilding left on it. Surprising amount of gilding. The enamels are worn off the heads, though, for some odd reason. Maybe they didn't have much. Maybe they left it as raw biscuitware. I'm not quite sure. But it's a very attractive basin. And I like the stand a great deal too. It's a very attractive stand. The stand appears to be probably early 20th century or somewhere in there. It's not a terribly old one, but it's a good looking one, beautifully carved. But the estimate I think is more than reasonable: $7,000 to $10,000, 25 inches in diameter, famille rose, nice condition. And then there's this very nice ruby back. And ruby back plates are pretty rare, as you know, if you've been collecting for any length of time. They don't turn up all the time. They're typically were made during the Yongchen period. And this is a very nice one. It's very finely done. The woman and the children and so forth, the gilding and all the high points of the enamels look in good to condition. Lots of gilding around this inner edge and so forth. But these plates typically don't get used too much as far as plates go, from the time they were made and the time they came over to America, because they're very thin and very fragile, and not an ideal subject matter type of material to eat out of. But they were beautifully done, and they were done for decorative purposes. They were done to show off the artwork of the artist more than anything else, really. But this is a very, very pretty one, and it's estimated that they all are estimated typically at $6,000 to $10,000 or 8,000 to 12,000. This one is estimated at 6 to 10, and it measures 8.5 inches in diameter. Nice looking plate, beautiful example. If you're looking for a good ruby back, this is a good option right here. And then over to this famille rose export plate, also Yongchen period, with this a leaf pattern cut out in the middle, filled with a couple of phoenixes, very, very, or they're big, actually just big pheasants, but call them phoenixes. A nice looking plate, and again, appears to be in quite excellent condition all the way around. Now, this is the Americana sale, and typically in Americana, just so you understand, it's Sotheby's in New York. When they do their Americana, they're very careful about the China trade porcelain they put in there. They only put in their best pieces. They don't put in pieces that typically are in rough condition or have a lot of wear to them or anything like that. They're quite selective on this. And this is a good example. This one has overglazed blue decoration in the center, which is a rocky outcropping with the perched birds, and beautifully detailed, nice honeycomb pattern, and then a double outer border. Very, very nice with variants of Greek key borders on the outside. Very attractive plate, estimated at $5,000 to $8,000. And then hopping over to this, they have a couple of nice punch bowls in the sale. And it's interesting; they are both really they're Chinese export for the foreign markets, because you know that by the shape and so forth. But these are both little over 15 inches in diameter, so they're good size. But they're Chinese taste. They're done in the Chinese taste, which is very attractive. And Asian buyers are starting to buy these. Chinese collectors do buy these now. They didn't used to, but they do now because of the subject matter. If they're Chinese subject matter, they take a lot of interest in these. And this is a very, very pretty one. Nice, vibrant colors. Again, the gilding looks to be in excellent condition. They provided lots of pictures, top, front, back, and bottom. That's the way to do it. Look at that. Even the base, there's a picture of the base of it. That's what it should look like, of course. And you can see the whole scene. If the only thing they could have done more than this would be to do the complete layout of the decoration in the round, the way they do sometimes, but they didn't do it with this one. But this one is very nicely decorated, beautifully done. Nice vibrant yellow in here, extremely attractive, Qianlong period. And estimated at $5,000 to $7,000. Now, this is a 15-inch bowl. This is not a 10-inch bowl. 10-inch bowls are worth a lot less. But this one is 15 inches. 5,000 to 7,000 seems quite reasonable for it. No other information on here. The center is decorated with the arms of Stuart quartering Mackenzie. Oh, so it has interior decoration. Oh, there we go. Armorial scene in the center. Okay, got to say that. And the armorial scene is in great condition. This bowl was not used much. If this bowl had regular activity, this gilding, this gold decoration would be pretty worn off by now. So whoever owned this took very, very good care of it over the years. And then there's another one in the Chinese taste, and this one is a Qianlong example as well, with women riding horses gallivanting around the outside. Horses have wonderful faces on them, and the colors are very good, and the decoration is quite interesting with these sort of bamboo decoration, these bamboo lattices that they're running around under. There's another scene of it here with a footbridge linking up to the lattices with women standing and so forth. Very, very attractive. And again, the gilding is in excellent condition. There's not a lot of wear to it. Also estimated at 5 to 7,000, and it's also 15 3/4 inches in diameter, just a little under 16 inches. And it was last sold at Sotheby's in Monaco in 1988. And it was one of two. It was a pair originally, and I'm horrified to think that the other one might have been damaged. Maybe somebody in the family that inherited it decided to keep one or something, rather than it might have been broken and lost. A pair of these would be really interesting. But these are estimated at 5 to 7,000. That's a very reasonable estimate for that. It's a neat bowl. It's an unusual, very atypical, unusual pattern. And here are a couple of gentlemen behind on a balustrade watching the activity down below. I think this bowl will do pretty well. This is a very interesting bowl, very unusual bowl, excellent condition with very detailed decoration and good color. All those things add up to a good result typically in auction. And then they're over to this very nice Kangxi to Yongzheng period armorial dish. The arms, the Chinese export provinces, Luxembourg. And this one's also in nice condition. A little bit of wear here at the top on the arch, the doorway arch and so forth. But the underglaze blue looks good. I don't see any repairs to it. And nice decoration. This is a familiar one. And sometimes you see a very similar pattern used, and it will say England instead of Luxembourg on the bottom. They did them both, and they just changed the names and redid the decoration a little bit. And this one is typically dated as they date these as late Kangxi to early Yongzheng period, estimated at $8,000 to $12,000. This is a big plate though. It measures 19 inches in diameter. It is a monster. This is a very, very big charger. So 8,000 to 12,000 seems very reasonable for that, for a charger of this size. That's a very big piece. And then there's this also, this doctor's visit. This is one of these prunk patterns that were so popular during the Yongzheng period and into the early Qianlong period. Let's see, it is 10.5 inches in diameter. And it's sold originally by Polly Latham in Boston. Polly's a wonderful dealer. If you've never been to her store, reach out to her. I don't know if she's getting ready to retire. Somebody told me she was thinking of retiring. So you would check it out first, but she's a terrific dealer. She's been around for 40 years. I knew her when she first started. She was a very nice lady, and she runs a very good shop. Very knowledgeable, very kind person. So check out her place online. She has a very good online selection each time I've looked, and I know a number of people have gone there to buy from her and have enjoyed her very much. So this is something Polly had sold, and it makes total sense. This is just the kind of thing she loved. Estimated at $3,000 to $5,000. Looks to be in very nice condition, which doesn't surprise me. Polly was very particular about condition. She was a bit like Eleanor Gordon. She's a bit like Eleanor Gordon was about her pickiness in condition, and this is reflective of that. I don't see any wear to it anywhere really. The gilding is all good. The enamels all look very good. I don't see any chipping anywhere. It looks excellent. Estimated at $3,000 to $5,000. And then hopping along over to this great big mythological subject hexagonal coffee pot. Chinese, of course, Kangxi period, unusual form. It's based on a Dutch form originally, and it measures. This is one of the pieces they didn't include the height on. You'll notice there's no size mentioned here. At any rate, it was sold originally by Anthony Gray. Tony Gray in London sold it back in 1991. He's been around a long time. He's a good dealer. I just heard from him the other day, as a matter of fact. At any rate, this is a wonderful teapot, and I think the estimate's very modest. $6,000 to $8,000. It should be 11 to 13 inches in height, somewhere around there. But find out the height of it. Get a hold of them. And Sotheby's, if you're watching, why don't you put the dimensions in? Do complete listings. Come on. New Year, started out right. This is a beautiful thing, and nice condition. I don't see any damage. The handle looks good. The little doodad connecting to the spout to hold it from breaking off easily looks okay. The decoration on the neck there looks good. The details, a lot of detail in this. Boy, these are very, very detailed. The feet look okay, but you want to get a condition report just the same to be certain. But it looks fine. $6,000 to $8,000 estimate. And then this is something you don't see very often. A pair of Monteith bowls. You may remember back last year there was a Kungshi Monteith bowl that turned up in I think it was Alders and Ogletree down in Atlanta had one. Here are two of them together, and they are a pair. I looked at them pretty carefully. They seem to be anyway. The ground patterns are about the same. The one on the left is a little darker than the one on the right, but that's just a variation of manufacture. But they all have the same Buddhist symbols around the interior, the brown dressing on the edges, and so forth. These are very, very nice looking bowls. And finding pairs of these is extremely unusual. And again, this is the kind of thing that Sotheby's would put in this sale because they're a very desirable form, very desirable for among Western collectors, of course, because of the form to cool off those wine glasses. And let's see, again, no measurements. Why they didn't do it, I don't know. But anyway, they're estimated at 10 to 15,000 for the pair, which is probably about right. I could see easily one of them bringing 5 or 6,000, and you got a pair. And pairs are highly desirable. Always figure a pair of things are worth 3 times the price of a single. Is not an unreasonable price to pay. Sometimes they go for 2 times and 2.5 times, but ultimately, in my mind, if you have a pair of something, if they're unusual, if they're common, then no, not so much. But on nice things that are unusual, yeah, 3 times the price of a single, because you don't see them very often. And then over here to this is a nice looking double-walled reticulated garniture set, probably, yeah, Kangxi period. How big are no dimensions again? Ah, these were sold at London in May of 2000 and May of 1994 at Christie's. These are nice though. They could be 8 inches tall. They could be 13 inches tall. I have no idea. But they're very good quality. And this is a form you see most often in Europe. You see these turn up in the Netherlands fairly often, or in England occasionally. But beautifully done, rare forms. These double-walled pieces are not common. They're not like the typical Kangxi garniture set. These are double-walled with reticulated exteriors. Get a condition report, have them double-check those reticulated areas to make sure they're all in good shape, but they look good. Estimated at $8,000 to $12,000. Based on the estimate, I'm assuming they're probably 9 to 11 inches tall. I don't think at that price, they wouldn't be the big ones. If these were 19 and 20 inches tall, then the price would be up in the 20 to 30,000, 30,000, 40,000 even, if they get really big. But 8 to 12,000, if they're around 10 inches, seems very reasonable. They're in good condition, nice looking porcelains, beautiful examples. And it's a set with their lids. Often the lids are missing on these things. And then over to this. Now, I'm curious to see how this does. Historically, Masonic wares have not done well. If you've seen me talk about them in the past, it's because the Masons and my family, my grandfather was the head of a Masonic lodge, actually. They are extremely unhappy when anything turns up on the market for sale with Masonic iconography on it. Even though this was done back in the 18th century, Masonic things for many years didn't have much of a market because the Masons will not buy them in auctions. Typically, they will not. They don't want to support the demand and the collectability of their symbols and so forth. It's a very private organization. As a matter of fact, when my grandfather passed away, the lodge, after a week or two, came by the representatives that my grandmother knew, and they asked to take back a number of the things that he was a 34th degree or 33rd. He had the top rank on the Mason thing, so he had all the goodies that they had because he was so involved for many years in the Boston lodges, and they took it all back, everything but the Masonic ring that he was wearing. Everything else they pretty much wanted back. Without exception, to maintain their privacy. But at any rate, this is a nifty. So maybe somebody will chase this. This is a very nice Masonic tank cider jug. A lot of fine decoration on this, and typically pieces that were Masonic, incidentally, that do have Masonic emblems on them, are very high quality. because Masons typically were fairly well off individuals financially, and they ordered the best. They loved good quality. And a lot of members of the founders of the country, of course, were Masons, and so forth. And a lot of the revolutionary heroes were. But this one is exceptional. And you'll notice the quality of the food line at the top, very detailed, unusually well detailed. And that kind of thing makes it quite exceptional. Nice big strap handle on it. Decoration looks good. Um, there's the front of it with the compass, and there's the back handle and so forth. That's this side and that side. Very, very nice. Estimated just 3 to 5,000 though. And did they include the height with this? Yeah, 11 and 1/8 inches tall. So it's pretty good size. Nice size cider jug. Do check it out. Do check it out. It's a good looking example. And then over to this, there are a couple of China trade paintings in here, but not many. I was kind of wishing they'd have more. There's only 2 Chinese export paintings in the sale. There's one that's sort of a common oil canal scene, which is fine. But this one I find much more interesting. It was done probably around 1820. Beautiful example. There's 2 of them. There's this one and this one. And if you blow it up, it really is a lovely scene of ladies playing musical instruments on it appears to be a spring day with flowers coming out and so forth. Very nice detail as you would expect. And judging by the furniture and the clothing, probably 1820, 1830, somewhere in there, plus or minus a couple of years, but very good color. Beautiful color, beautiful condition. You notice the square table here it looks like it's done in red lacquer, which is a little bit unusual rather than just raw wood or oiled wood. And the bench, of course, that they're on is excellent quality. And then there is this one, which is another scene of women overlooking, I guess it's like another view, looking over with some water in the background in this beautiful garden, and again, blossoming flowers and so forth. But the robes and the way they're dressed point towards, the 1820s, 1820s and 30s and so forth. But this is a nice looking pair of pictures, and they're beautifully framed, ready to go, estimated at 3 to 5,000 for the pair. And do they give the dimensions on these? They did. Good for them. The image size these are big sheets. These are big paintings. The overall frame size, they're 27 by 32 inches. But the site size on these are big, 19 by 24 inches. So these are pretty big paintings. These are good sized pictures and beautiful quality. And I think 3 to 5,000 is more than reasonable. You might want to check these out. There's no provenance. There's no other information other than just gouache and watercolor on paper. It could be English paper or it could be Chinese paper. All right, so that's that. There's other things in there. There's more than this. There are more armorial pieces, but that's sort of a taste of some of the pieces that are in there. There's also some very excellent Americana. If you like American art, the Sotheby's has they were particularly heavy this year with early American paintings, portrait paintings in particular. Some wonderful American folk art in that sale, so do check it out. All right, and then hopping along over to let's see, who's this? This is the I want to make sure I give you the right information here. Is this Roseberrys? Roseberrys, London. Okay, good. January 30th. They have a sale coming up with some pretty good looking Chinese things in it. They have some pieces in here that have been through a couple of times that didn't sell, but there's some awful nice examples in here. And check out the sale. It's worth looking at. You may remember they were the folks a few months ago that had that cache of what was it? They were Daoguan bowls. They went to the country house and they found all those great porcelains and they sold them a great amount of excitement. They did very well. Famille Rose examples of Qing Dynasty imperial bowls. Remember, they found there was a whole bunch of them in the pantry. There's some pieces that didn't sell in that series of sales back then that are going to be in this sale. And these are some of these enamel pieces that have turned up. We're going to go through a few of them. All right. And some porcelain as well. There's this very nice little Kangxi bowl with an extremely reasonable estimate, 280-pound opening bid, estimated at 400 to 600 pounds. It's a 6-inch bowl. It looks like it's in pretty good shape. Nice looking bowl, very well decorated. If you're looking for one of these, check that out. I think it's in good condition from what I'm seeing, and I think the estimate's very reasonable. And Roseberrys are nice people to deal with, from what I've been told. They're very, very pleasant. And then there's this. This is a nice late Ming to early Qing dynasty, decorated Yixing figure. Um, um, I guess it's Yixing underneath this white creamy glaze. Very, very nice glaze. And the white glazes that they used in the late Ming tended to have a bit of a yellowish tone to it at times, especially if it's on pottery. I've had them over the years, but this is a nice one. I love the expression on the Buddha. The Buddha has such a great expression, so much energy in those eyes, and that the mouth is wide open. He's laughing, having a great time, and it looks to be in good condition. It's a nice figure. How big is it? Let's see here. It is 8 centimeters wide and 12 centimeters high. So it's about 4.5, 5 inches tall. So it's about this big. They weren't big like the late Qing ones, typically. The ones that were done at this time were probably more often like 4 to 6 inches in height. Nice example, though, with a reasonable estimate, 600 to 800 pounds with a 400-pound opening bid. All right, and then over to this nice looking lacquer, little lacquer folding fan, Chinese export, mid 19th century, very nicely done. And it's interesting because the monogram panel was never done on it, which means that whoever bought it didn't bother having it put on with some gilding. But it looks like it's in excellent condition and has its original box from H.R. Salisbury and Sons in Guildford on High Street. So it's got its original little box, nice looking thing, very reasonably estimated, 80 to 120 pounds. Should bring that on the opening bid. But if you like China trade fans and you want something unusual, this is a good one. These lacquer examples do not turn up very often, and it was probably made in the mid 19th century. It's a very nice example. And then there's this, the Japanese Arita Charger, Edo period, 18th century, early 18th century, very nice quality. It looks like it's had a repair up here, so you want to get some details on that. But the center panel, the center decoration with the insect resting on a rock overlooking a pond, that's a pretty unusual pattern for one of these. You want to look into that. And the decoration on the border is particularly neat. It's very tidily painted. The estimate is very reasonable, though. It must be due to the apparent break on the upper corner. It's only estimated at 80 to 120 pounds UK with a 30-pound opening bid. Who says who says all Asian that's expensive? But if you look at it, you consider the decoration on it. It's very, very nice. And it's good size. It's 39 centimeters in diameter. So it's around 15 or 16 inches wide. It's a pretty good size one. Now, this was, you may remember, this was some of the enamel ewers that were in the sale a couple of months ago that didn't sell. I think they got close to selling and they didn't quite get there. And now they're back in this sale with a much lower estimate. And it's the same ones. If you liked them last time, you should like them this time. This one is missing its spout, but the other two look okay. I'm sure they have little issues with the enamels, but the form is terrific. And they're estimated this time around at just 8 to 1,200 pounds with a 500-pound opening bid. All right. And then this didn't sell last time, and I was astounded. And I have no idea why. Even an English furniture dealer should have bought this. This is a Regency knife urn. These, if you're not familiar with these, the tops of these lift up. You see that seam right there? And they lift up, and they have slots in the top to put forks and knives and so forth in. And you keep them on sideboards of houses. And this is an extremely unusual thing. A Japanese lacquered and mother of pearl inlaid Regency knife urn, not a common thing. And maybe it didn't sell last time around. They're saying it's Meiji period. I think it's older than that. I think it's late Edo. I think it's probably made around 1820 from what I'm seeing of the design. But that's just me. But at any rate, it may not have sold because nobody knows what they're worth, because if you go to look them up, you're not going to find the prices, I don't think, very readily. If you look up, Regency Japanese inlaid mother of pearl knife urn, good luck. If you find one, if somebody out there takes the challenge and looks it up, send me an email. Tell me what it is you found, because it's a very unusual form. And I was astonished it didn't sell last time. And it's estimated this time at just 300 to 500 pounds. It is worth that all day long. That is a very handsome thing. And it's good size too. This one is 64 centimeters tall. So it's over 2 feet tall. This isn't a little tabletop thing. This is a big piece of work. Again, 25 inches in height would make a room. Very, very attractive, beautiful looking thing, and rare. And estimated for nothing. And then over to this, these are these Chinese Amari hookah bases. This one has been fitted out with silver, a beautiful example. If you're going to smoke pot, smoke it in style. Here you go. I shouldn't say that. Any rate, great looking thing. And I love the silver work on it. I love it when they found new uses for these things. The estimate is very reasonable, 300 to 500 pounds, and they're dating it as 18th century. Let's see the bottom of this thing. This looks like Japanese Amari. Yeah, Japanese Amari. I'm pretty sure. Certainly looks at the dark blue and so forth. It's a Japanese Amari bottle base that's been converted. Maybe that's why they're just saying, what do they don't say what it is. They just say 17th century or later. Do they say down below? No, they didn't. They weren't sure whether it was Chinese or Japanese. This happens a lot, by the way, with these. I think it's Japanese, judging by the decoration in the color of the blue. Estimated at 300 to 500 pounds, still worth it. Great looking object, very, very cool, and it measures 28 centimeters. So it's just a hair under a foot tall. Beautiful thing. And here's a silver mounted Wan Li, possibly they said Wan Li. It may also be Jiajing period. Ewer with silver handles. It's been fixed. Probably got the handles. Probably got knocked off at some point. The spout got damaged. So they did all this beautiful silver work to preserve it. And I think that's just tremendous. To me, it makes it more interesting than if it was completely perfect. Because it shows they really love this thing, and the metalwork has a very Middle Eastern, has a very Turkish or Persian look to it. The style of it, the way it's done, quite attractive, and estimated at 1,500 to 2,000 pounds, but a very early piece of porcelain. If formerly it was sold at Bonham's back in 2008, and it measures about 13 inches in height, 32 centimeters. And then over to this. This is nice. If you like a nice piece of flambe, they're dating it as 18th or 19th century, but they didn't show a picture of the bottom. So you need to get some bottom shots of this to make sure. But they certainly did these in the 18th and 19th century. And this one is 21 centimeters high. It's 8 inches tall, so it's not a huge one. It's not a tiny one either. It's not 5 inches tall. It's right sort of in the middle. Estimated at 400 to 600 pounds, 280 pound opening bid, but has very, very nice color. I'm going to pull this in here. The color effect that they worked out on this when they did this, really quite excellent. Beautiful color, and it does seem to stop pretty well just above the foot. So, early 19th century is not an unreasonable date if the bottom of it has that same look. And here it is up to the top. But the flambe glaze on the body, on this pear-shaped body, is really attractive. It's very, very attractive color. You pay for color. And the estimate is reasonable, 400 to 600 pounds, 280 pounds starting bid. And then over to this, a pair of Kangxi basket-formed dishes. And of course, you see these often in the Qianlong period with a nearly identical pattern, but they expanded it. They made it bigger in the Qianlong period sometimes. But the colors here look good. The aubergine on the flowers certainly look Kangxi to me. Down in here, that dense aubergine tone, and the red looks good, the greens look good, the borders look good, the butterflies look good. They look Kangxi from what I could see. And how big are they? 37 centimeters each. Okay, so these are pretty good size. It's about 15 inches wide each. So you want to get a condition report because they're only estimated at 400 to 600 pounds. That seems low for two big pieces that size. Maybe not. Maybe they're perfect. But the consignor just says, just sell them, get rid of them. But if you get a pair of chargers like this, if you can pick these up for under $1,000 US or under about 850 British pounds, you got a good buy. It's a very good buy. And then hopping along over to this, the Dreweatts sale is coming up. There's a few things in here, not a lot of Chinese stuff. And this is the sale that's on. I want to get the date here. Lot 160. The Baroness Rowlings of Eaton Square, and contents from Addington Hall. So it's two sales. And where's the date? They put the date on here. Auction date, the 22nd. Here we go. It's 22nd of this year. And first thing up is this big pair of aubergine monk's cap viewers with metal handles on them. These are quite attractive. And you don't see these in aubergine very often. Here you can really see the color. quite clearly on here. And there's a pair of them, and they're estimated at 6 to 10,000 which I think is reasonable. If you could pick them up for around 6,000, I think they're sort of a bargain. And the buyer's premium is only 26%. I say only is 26% at Dreweatts, but these are extremely attractive, and it's a pair of monk's cap viewers. Again, these are the kinds of things you don't see in pairs very often. Singles you see, because they're very susceptible to breakage. They tip over. They're fairly good size. These are 44 centimeters tall, so they're just a little under 18 inches in height each. So these would be very, very attractive, and it certainly justifies the estimate. All right, and then over to this is a nice shaped rim Kangxi Femi-Vert plate with flower basket design. How big is this thing? Hold on, I'm going to go back to the size just for a second. 40 centimeters. Okay, so it's about 15 inches wide. Nice detail though, beautiful colors. Nice border decoration. These lotus lappets going out to the edge, to the shaped edge. The colors are quite vibrant on this, I must say. The colors look nice and strong. The reds and greens in particular, beautifully done. Estimated at just 3,000 to 5,000 pounds. It should get there. This is a pretty good look. There's the back of it. There's the bottom with the typical base on these. And there it is. It looks a little dirty. This is the upper edge. The reason it's discolored, that's the side that's upward, up top. So all the dirt's been settling on this thing for a long time. Because if you look at the rest of it, look down the sides. I was hoping it would show me the bottom. For some reason, this doesn't move. I don't know why. Let me see if I can get it to move. Come on, come on, come on, move down. It doesn't want to move down. There we go. You'll notice this down here is much cleaner. All right, because it's gravity went by and pushed the dirt down, but the dirt did seem to collect on the top of this thing up at the upper edge. That'll wash right off. Tiny bit of soap and water, you're in good shape. All right, and what was the estimate again? I'm going to repeat it: 3,000 to 5,000 pounds. And then over here, another pair of Kangxi faceted vases. These are nice looking. How big are these? These are a little over about 13 inches tall, but it's a pair of these. They're estimated at 3,000 to 5,000 pounds. Very nice color, very good condition. They look quite good. All the way down. The tiny bit of fritting on the corners around here. There's, Kangxi pieces get fritting on the edges fairly often without too much difficulty, so you're going to see a little bit of it there. But overall, these look very nice, and they read pretty well as a pair. What I'm seeing, the borders all look pretty good. The potting is slightly different because these are handmade, and these are very complicated to make, by the way. Because of all the different shapes and angles and so forth. Estimated at 3,000 to 5,000 pounds, 2,800 pound opening bid. Yeah, they're worth it. You figure it out. If one of them would certainly be worth 1,500 to 2,000 pounds, or $1,800 to $2,400. So I think you're right in the ballpark there. 3,000 to 5,000 looks fine. And then hopping along over to this. This is something that's very interesting. This was bought by the previous owner from Edward Chow in Hong Kong in 1962. And you remember we talked about Edward Chow and his famous collection, and Nicholas Chow at Sotheby's, his son, I believe, right? Grandson. I always get them mixed up with their grandson or son. Somebody correct me. But that amazing relationship that Nicholas had with him, and he handled only the best things. He was one of the best dealer collectors of the 20th century in China and in the world. Phenomenal collector. Apparently, this was something he had, and everything he sold that he had was always the best, the best, the best. And this is a very, very nice looking Kisi. It looks to be in outstanding condition. See if we can get a detail on this. There we go. Yeah, beautiful. Look at the soft pink. Beautiful soft pink colors. The ground is perfect. There's no staining. This is a very lovely piece of Kisi work. Beautiful example. Let's see, estimated at 12 to 18,000 pounds, 11,000 pound opening bid, 18th to early 19th century. It looks Qianlong to me, but they're saying 18th to 19th century, so Qianlong to Chai Qing period, Chai Qing, his son. And it measures 185 centimeters across, which is around in height rather, 185 centimeters, So that's about, we're going to do the quick math here, about 60, right? 60, I always get messed up on this. 3 times 5, about 5 feet in height. Yeah, roughly. A little over 5 feet tall and around 4 feet wide. A little under 4 feet. 3.5 feet wide. Yeah, 3 feet wide. 3 feet wide, 5 feet tall. Nice looking thing. Big piece. Hang it in your hall. Hang it in the hallway. It would look amazing. Um, Wonderful condition. All framed and ready to go. 12 to 18,000 pounds. All right. And then the last one is this, just to close it out. A nice little group of snuff bottles at Dreweatts. I like the ones on the right in particular, these little rounded forms. They're not very big. They're only 6.5 centimeters tall. They look bigger. They read bigger. They read like they're probably 5 or 6 inches, but they're not. They're very, very small, a couple of inches tall, 2 or 3 inches. But you have these nice square form bottles on the left, late 19th century, and the ones on the right are probably late 19th century as well. But good quality, and it's a pair. The lids are later replacements, but who cares? And $300 to $500 for all four. Very reasonable, 150-pound opening bid. Something to look into. So that's pretty much it. And just so you know, the newsletter page this week has more stuff in it than last week. Last week there was so little stuff in it, I didn't even bother mentioning it. I apologize for that because there just wasn't much happening. So many eBay sellers take a lot of time off in December. I know we always used to. We would finish up whatever listings we had in November and sort of skip December altogether and spend the time getting ready to go skiing or visiting family members and stuff, and then get back to work in January. And you'll be going to be seeing that as well. The UK listings have already come back quite a bit more than some of the American ones. I noticed also there's some good things on there. So check out the newsletter page over on bidamount.com this week. There'll be a lot of fresh stuff up there and some interesting things too. And so forth. So that's about it until next week. And everybody have a wonderful weekend to sort of get rested up. You all go back to work. I assume many of you are taking this week off. I hope you are. I've been taking a little bit of time off, as some of you know. I've been sort of spending it with the kids and getting things done and enjoying the holidays. What I've been doing really quite a bit. I've been feeling quite well, and I'm going to take advantage of that as well. All right. So that's it. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. We'll see you next week. We'll try to get a couple of videos out next week. There's a few things we're going to go over. And if you haven't subscribed yet here on YouTube, please do. Give us a thumbs up if you like the videos. And join us over on Patreon. If you feel like you want to do that in the new year, we put new content on there, 5 or 6 bits of content on there each week. The things that turn up that we encounter on the market, objects that turn up that we haven't talked about over here yet. We often put them there first, just because it helps keep it on at the front of my memory, and so I don't forget them. And we eventually, of course, do talk to them in the regular videos, but you sort of get a jump on things. And you get, of course, you can look at the auction report cards and do all that. So it's just food for thought. It's just something I've got to keep mentioning because the people over there seem to like it a lot, having a good time. All right. Well, at any rate, have a great weekend, and I'll see you all next week. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.